What is Cafe Mocha? Cafe Mocha is experts, celebrities.
What's up? This is Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yours truly, Idris Elba.
This is Fantasia.
This is Invo.
This is India Re.
So much more. All from a woman's perspective.
What flavor are you, baby?
This is Cafe Mocha.
We know DeVon Franklin as a movie and TV producer, motivational speaker, Megan Good's ex-husband. His new project, he talks about the day his father died and the strong black women who raised him. DeVon Franklin and his mama Paulette are on the way. Cafe Mocha begins now. Angelique, along with Lonnie Love, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. How you doing, Lonnie?
I am, this is the thing that people need to understand. Each year, millions of Americans face the reality of living with mental illness, millions. And we're seeing it. A lot of people, are facing it, dealing with it. We unfortunately had the tragic death recently of country singer Naomi Judd.
Oh, my goodness.
And, she was a strong advocate for mental health awareness. And unfortunately, she succumbed to it. So we're asking people for Mental Health Awareness Month, to have more self-care for yourself. Also, to check in with that strong friend. Sometimes, especially as Black women, we're the strong person. And, if you know that you have a person that's always checking on you, you make sure you check in on that strong friend, the one you always calling, the one you always, they got to listen. You love their advice. Ask them how they doing. Call them and really, see how they're doing. And there are a lot of resources if you need to check for your mental health, because that's what's important. The National Alliance of Mental Health has a wonderful website. It's NAMI.org. It has a lot of resources on there where you can get help for, if you're having mental health awareness issues. And that's what's important.
And the thing is, if somebody has had problems, whether they're taking medication and seeing a psychologist or psychiatrist, or whether you just know they're struggling with stuff and they haven't gotten help, those things don't go away. I mean, what struck me about Naomi Judd is that she's so she's toward the end of her life and she would do this. But the reality is that just because you made it over that hurdle when you were 50 and when you were 60, it doesn't mean it goes away at 70. Right. It doesn't. Just because you're taking the medicine and you're seeing the doctor every day, when you have mental health issues, even if you're on that medication, even if you're seeing your doctor and sitting in therapy, every day you have to decide that you want to get up. You have to decide that you want to take that medicine. You have to decide that today is worth living for. So it never goes away. So that's why with people that have issues, you got to check on them regularly. Don't think, they in a good place, they straight, because it's an everyday battle.
Well, it's also a stigma around mental health and the treatment, especially in our community. People hesitate to seek the help or even talk about it because, of unnecessary backlash. We got to get out of that as a community. If a person is having mental health issues, it's not about joking about it. It's not about being afraid of it. It's about, making sure that they get the help and seek the help that they need,
And we have to stop doing that thing where we go, Uncle Joe, he's just like that. It's like, no, something is wrong with them. And something is wrong. And you don't have to know what it is. Nobody's saying go Google it must be personality disorder. But if somebody needs help, maybe it's your responsibility to go and say, hey, you need some help. Maybe you talk to your mama or your cousin or the wife and say, hey, Uncle Joe needs some help. But we can't just everybody in the family look the other way and act like it's not happening until.
Well, there are 4 types of mental illness. This is according to the Medline Plus. Some types of mental disorders are anxiety disorders, including panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and phobias, depression, bipolar disorder, and other mood disorders, eating disorders, personality disorders, post-traumatic stress disorder, and psychotic disorders, including schizophrenia. So this is what, these are the types of mental illnesses that happen, that sometimes you think, oh, well, I may have this eating, disorder where I'm doing something after I eat or before I eat, or I won't eat. That's a disorder, and that's dealing with your mental illness. And another thing is, they say, 1, take care of yourself. 2, take care of your loved ones and talk about it. And that's why we're talking about it, because it's something that's very important. It's something that's affecting our community, has done it for too long. And we're all humans. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's, you only have one life to live. You want to live your best life. And the way you do it is by getting the help that you need. And everyone deserves that, especially the people that are around you as well. So Mental Health Awareness Month.
And, if you can't talk to your Black friends, you can always talk to your white friends. The white friends are perfect. I can go to my white friends with any mental health stuff, and they done something 57 times worse. And I'm like, okay, you can't go to your mama and see your Black girlfriends, then go to your white girlfriend. Anyway, I want to switch gears, Lonnie, because this is an exciting month for our family, because my grandmother is turning 100 years old.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
And this woman, still remembers my first little high school boyfriend drove a Valiant, a Plymouth Valiant. She's travels. We started making her walk with a cane just for safety purposes. But this woman, when you look at her age, you wouldn't think she was 100. And she might be 99, because, back in the day, they didn't do the birth certificates right. She might be 99. But this woman, you would just hope to be as healthy, to be as of sound mind, to be able to enjoy your great grandkids. And, I just want to wish her a happy 100th birthday. And
that's a blessing. 100th birthday.
Yeah, let her know what an inspiration she is. I'm not going to put her out on blast and, say she still smoke weed, but.
Oh my goodness. You know what? That's why she lived to be 100 then.
I need to just go ahead and start,
Hilarious.
Love you, Grandma. Cafe Mocha, we know him as a movie and TV executive, a producer of faith-based movies, including Breakthrough. He's inspired us on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. He's the author of several books. But how did DeVon Franklin get here? His mama's here to tell us. Hey, Miss Paulette, how are you?
Oh, hello. How are you?
Good, thank you. And joining her is her son, DeVon Franklin. Welcome back to Cafe Mocha. How are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back. And I know she going to tell you all the secrets.
Miss Paulette, welcome to Cafe Mocha. Tell us, what did you guys do for Mother's Day?
Well, dinner in Santa Rosa, and just have a lot of good things to eat. I've already gotten a couple gifts in the mail, sweet potato pie that I love. And yes, we've had a wonderful Mother's Day.
What's the best thing he ever did for you for Mother's Day?
He was born.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, man.
There we go.
That's good.
Exactly.
That's good.
There you go.
All right. I want to talk about your project, DeVon. I mean, I feel like we've watched your interviews on Oprah. We've watched you on the red carpet. People feel like they know you if they've read your books, if they've seen you. But this new project that you've done with Audible called It Takes a Woman, you actually give us your origin story.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this book, it takes a woman, this audio book with Audible. I get a chance to kind of talk about, the pain and the tragedy of losing my father when I was 9 years old. He passed away of a heart attack when he was 36. And, my mother was left as a single mom to raise me and my older brother and younger brother. And I'm able to really dig deep and really give the listener an understanding of what was really going on, how difficult that was. And then also being able to get the perspectives of my great aunts and how they dealt with the tragedy of losing my father. So this is the first project where I'm really able to tell those origins in this much transparency and truth.
And you call it an audio book, but it feels like I'm sitting in the living room with you telling a story with your family, because your mom is talking and then your aunt pops in and I mean, you call it a book, but it doesn't feel like a book to me. It feels like you open the door and let me into your house.
I love that. I love that you're saying it and talking about it that way. That makes me feel good. It means the storytelling is working. It's almost like an audio experience more so than an audio book.
Yes. So what made you want to, at this time with all the books, because you have a whole bunch of books, we've heard a lot of, of you. Why now do you feel like you wanted to open up about the loss of your father?
Well, I've talked about it over the years and, just never really had a chance to, detail what all went into it and how difficult it was. And then Audible had approached me about expanding an article that I wrote for Maria Shriver for her Sunday paper into this book. And so the origin of all this was an article called The Coalition of Women that I wrote years ago for Maria Shriver. And Audible saw that. They reached out and said, we think there would be a great book here. Do you want to tell more of your story? I said, yeah, I'd love to. So then that's what, I went to my mom and I went to my great aunts and said, would you all want to participate? And they said, well, as long as you pay us, So I had to cut a deal with them. They drive a hard bargain. But, ultimately they agreed and we were able to put this together.
Now, Miss Paulette, typically in the Black community, we don't like talking our business.
Mm-hmm.
So when your son came to you and said, let's do this, I mean, I know the money was good, but, were there any other reasons why you were okay with sharing your story?
To be very honest with you, I had no idea this is how it would end up. And so, we were told what we were going to do, and we said, oh, okay, no problem. But then to actually do it, it brought up a whole lot of pain and things that we hadn't even thought about before. And so I wasn't prepared. I can't speak for my aunts, but I wasn't prepared for what was to come. But it turned out well, and I'm glad that I did it.
So was this? I mean, because I'm making my way through the audio experience.
Yes.
But, just in the first chapter, we have, a death. We have, alcoholism. We have, and Lonnie's right. We don't like to talk about our stuff. So, I mean, how did you each deal with the emotional thing that happened when you started bringing up these old stories?
Miss Paulette.
But okay, Maya, you go first, and then I can.
Okay. I didn't deal with it very well. I'm be honest. If you listen to the audio, I cried through the whole book basically. DeVon kept telling me, "Mom, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay." But once you start talking about it, you want to get it out and finish. And hopefully from there you will heal, and next time it won't be so painful. Yeah, I had to deal with it, and I did.
DeVon?
Yeah, I think that it's about not being afraid to, go back to moments and things. A lot of times we go through stuff and, we don't realize how much it affects us because we don't talk about it. Mm-hmm. But to be able to talk about it and sort through it and sift through it, especially as a family, it has allowed some healing to happen that I don't know would have happened. It's brought us closer. And people are going through a whole lot right now and wanting to share this book and share our story as a way to say we all go through things, but we're going to come through it too. That was really one of the real reasons to do it, is to really try to bring hope and healing to so many who are going through it right now.
It's Cafe Mocha. On the line, DeVon Franklin and his mom, Miss Paulette, talking about their Audible original, It Takes a Woman. DeVon, what do you want people to take away from this story?
I want people to take away from the story. Like, I think you guys, we were talking earlier about just the Black culture and Black community, and we don't like to always talk. And sometimes that is a detriment to the next generation, because they don't always have the information that they need to navigate their life successfully, because we aren't speaking about what we've been through and what the challenges and the ups and downs. And so my hope is that people, get out of this book wisdom, they get direction, they get healing, they get inspiration. My mother was a single mother, didn't know what she was going to do. Her main hope was that we would be okay when we got older. And the fact that she brought my aunts and my grandmother around to help raise us, and that me and my brothers are okay, we are the make good of her sacrifices. And so I want people to know that, you may make sacrifices now, you don't know how they're going to play out, but they will play out for your good. Really want people to have hope from this.
And Miss Paulette, has telling the story been like therapy for the family, do you think?
Yes, I believe so. I think a lot of us cried. A lot of us found out things we didn't know. And I think that has brought us much healing and much closer.
DeVon, listening to you recall being a little boy and seeing your father in the morgue. I mean, I was doing like morning exercise, listening in the headphones, and people had to have thought I was crazy because I was just physically reacting to you telling this story and couldn't believe it. You just placing your lips and feeling the coldness of his skin. Like, I can see it, and it hurt me. And so I wonder, as you were recalling that moment in time, being that little 9-10-year-old boy, how do you feel like that particular moment, not his death, but that moment, seeing him there like that, shaped you as a man?
It was one of those moments where you realize this is not a game. Life is real. There's a scripture that says the rain falls on the just and the unjust. And in that moment, it was like, my other friends may have been, being in Little League and playing sports and, everything was fine. But this was my reality. Here I am in the morgue, and this is my father, and he's gone. And so it if anything, it may have, grew me up or matured me, maybe even faster than I may have matured, because it was like, this is not playtime. This is not make-believe. This is real. And here he is. And I remember the feeling to this day. It was a very sobering feeling of like, well, how did we get here? And this is not how it's supposed to be. And again, I'm 9 years old, so I don't know exactly how it's supposed to be, but I didn't feel like this was how it was supposed to be. So, for me as a kid, I think it just let me know that you got to take this thing seriously. And I think that also has informed a lot of my work ethic, why I'm so, committed to putting things out there and doing the best I can, because we only live this life once. We only live this life once, and you can't go back and say, I wish I woulda, coulda, but you didn't. So, I think that moment really informed how I grew up, who I've become. And I'm so grateful for this project because it has allowed me to go back and, process the trauma and really work through some grief that I didn't grieve at that time.
Ms. Paulette, what advice do you have for parents and grandparents who have to tell a child that their mom or dad has passed?
To really think about it. I wanted the kids to see their father the last time, but I didn't even think about how traumatizing that was. And they couldn't carry that trauma on through their lives. So I would say, think about it before you make a decision to either take them there or show them, or it'd probably be better to talk to them about it and explain about death and prior to people even dying, so that when anyone dies that's close to them, any family member, that they'll be prepared, because I know my children were not prepared for that. But I was so upset that I didn't, I did what I thought I should do and took them with me, whereas I probably shouldn't have. But they're okay now, and we just keep praying every day that, our lives will be what they should be.
Cafe Mocha, Angelique, along with Lonnie Love. On the line, DeVon Franklin and his mom, Paulette. They have a new project out called It Takes a Woman. It's on Audible. It is he calls it an audiobook. I call it me sitting in the living room eavesdropping on a family telling their story.
She knows, so she liked this. And you know, this is your type of book.
It is.
Oh my God.
So I wanna come back to this idea of village, because DeVon, one of the things you say is, if you don't have a village, my family now, it's your village. But when this was happening to you guys, when your father passed away, Miss Paulette, when you were left with these 3 boys that you had to figure out how to raise without the steady income and the husband, and you leaned on your sisters, your aunts, your mom, your dad. It was 30 years ago. Now the village looks a lot different. It's a lot harder to connect with people. So what advice, either of you, both of you, do you have for making that village now in a world that feels a lot different than it did 30 years ago, and certainly 50 years ago, when you could count on, your neighbor checking on your kid or whatever?
Well, I think that the world is different, but we aren't. We all need care. We all need consideration. We all need love. We all want to feel heard and embraced and feel like we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. And through technology, that is now more possible than ever before. Prior to technology, you really had to rely on your nuclear family or your neighborhood or where you went to school or where you went to church to find that community. Now you can find community and find those needs being met digitally, electronically, social media wise. So now I think that, it's actually easier to make that connection. So when I say, hey, my village is your village, I mean that. And that's an actual truth. I mean, just last week we did a Zoom doing a listening party for the book. And we had, hundreds of people all from around the world in the Zoom listening to clips, talking about how much the book was relating to them and how much they appreciated the community. And, I had my mom on the Zoom and my great aunts on the Zoom, and they were like, oh my goodness, these are our aunties and we love them. And I said, yes, they are. So I think that even though times have changed, our needs haven't. And I think that technology gives us a chance to meet those needs, maybe even better than before.
It Takes a Woman is currently available on Audible. This is Cafe Mocha.
Morlani.
Hey, this is Claude Kelly from We Sound Crazy with your Black Music Month Spotlight. Victoria Monet is an American singer and songwriter. As an artist, Monet released the second installment of her Jaguar trilogy, titled Jaguar 2. The album won Best R&B Album and Best Engineered Album, Non-Classical, at the 66th Grammy Awards, and featured hit singles such as Smoke.
And so I know I want the generation where that music was their prime to appreciate it, but also my generation to find some of the lyrics fun and use them as captions. So I want to have that juxtaposition.
Party Girls and the RAA certified platinum track, On My Mama.
Hey, it's Angelique here. Walt Disney World Resort is bringing you the culture with music, art, and food. Imagine savoring Princess and the Frog's decadent bread pudding and berry beignets at Disney's Port Orleans Resort. Take in Disney's Animal Kingdom Park's Circle of Life Festival, celebrating the Lion King and more. Walt Disney World Resort is a place where you can come and celebrate with your family, and you can do it soulfully. Bring yourself to Walt Disney World Resort and celebrate the culture.
Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha, Angelique, along with Lonnie Love. We know DeVon Franklin as a Hollywood executive, a producer of faith-based movies that include Breakthrough. He inspired us on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. He's written several books. His latest project is a podcast about the women who raised him. We're talking to him and his mom, Paulette. Lonnie, go ahead.
Well, the thing that we love about you, DeVon Franklin, is that you continue to produce. So let's shift gears because you've got some new projects coming up. Let's talk about Flamin' Hot. Now, this movie is about who said he created Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Is that right?
Yeah, Richard Montanez. He is the creator and driving force behind Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
So you making it's a rag to riches story. Tell us a little bit about it.
You know, I wouldn't say so much rags to riches. It's kind of more like Pursuit of Happiness. You know, Richard Montanez is, you know, a real man, a guy who's an inspiration. He is the son of a Mexican immigrant, and he worked as a janitor for Frito-Lay for years, and came up with the idea to put chili powder on snacks as a way to appeal to his community. And they gave him the opportunity to do that. And one of those snacks was Cheeto. And he also not only came up with the idea for it, but he also understood how to market it. And he went out and sold it to went door to door, sold it to his community. And next thing you know, Flamin' Hot Cheetos starts to fly off the shelves and becomes a juggernaut, transforming the whole snacking industry. And so the movie is about how that happened and his journey and his family. And Eva Longoria directed it. And it's a really powerful film and a funny film. And I can't wait for you all to see it.
And I've been a customer ever since. So thank you. Now, before we go, DeVon and Miss Paulette, we have to talk about your other new project on BET Plus. It's an original show that they're calling the gospel version of Empire. Talk about Kingdom Business.
Yeah, Kingdom Business, a brand new show I got on BET Plus coming May 19th. 8 episodes, 1 hour each. And it is literally like Empire set in the world of the gospel music industry. And Yolanda Adams is the lead, and you have never seen her like this. She plays the character of Danita Jordan, and she's fierce. But her reign is being threatened by a young rising star played by Soraya. And she's amazing, and her character's name is Rebel. And this is really going to surprise, I think, a lot of people. The drama is great. The music is amazing. Kirk Franklin is also an executive producer of the series, and he did some original music for the series along with Warren Campbell. And I think it's a great drama. Right now, it feels like there just aren't a lot of good dramas out there, especially for us. And I think this is going to fill that void.
Miss Paulette, how proud of you, your baby boy? All this producing and stuff he doing ain't put me in not one thing. We'll see. We have to change that. I need a job, DeVon. I ain't got a TV show no more.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I went over there to eat. But Miss Paulette, how proud of you, your baby boy?
I couldn't give you a word to describe how proud of him I am. He is an outstanding child, an outstanding son, outstanding person. God has truly blessed him and took good care of him, you know. And I love him with all my heart. And I don't even know what to say about him because he's so wonderful. And I love him.
Now, DeVon, you got to say something nice about your mama now. That's the dad.
No, I keep her on retainer, so she's paid to say nice things like that. So thank you, Mom. The check is already in direct deposit.
No, that's right.
You know, at the end of the book, you know, I have the very last chapter of It Takes a Woman is called Dear Mama. And I talk about, you know, how so often as kids, and I was certainly guilty of this, you know, really not understanding that my mother did the best she could with what she had. And, you know, growing up, sometimes I was ungrateful and really didn't understand and appreciate the sacrifice that she made. But as she got older, as I got older, I realized, wow, not only did she do the best with what she had, what she did do was more than enough. And so I am so grateful that I came into this earth through my mother, and she is, you know, a woman of few words, but a woman of incredible integrity and faith and love. And I love her dearly, and we wouldn't be the men that we are today without her. And the thing I love about telling this story, when we were younger and our father passed away, she did not know, how am I going to do this? How am I going to raise these 3 black boys to be successful and not a statistic? She had faith, and she had sacrifice, and she had help, and here we are today. I mean, we're only here for her because of her mercy and her grace. So, Mom, thank you. I love you. And, I'm glad we can do this together.
I love you more. Thank you, son.
It Takes a Woman is currently available on Audible. It is really good. And thank you for sharing that story. Also, Kingdom Business, BET Plus, streaming now. Thank you so much for being on Cafe Mocha. It was a pleasure to meet you, Miss Paulette.
Miss Paulette, thank you so much. It's always good to talk to you, DeVon.
Always
thank
good
you,
talking
guys.
to y'all. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Here's your dose of espresso. Strong, hot news now.
This is the Espresso. Pinky Cole, the owner of Slutty Vegan Restaurants, just gave the class of 2022 at Clark Atlanta a nice graduation gift.
I have partnered with Varo Bank to provide every single graduate in this audience with a new LLC and a path to entrepreneurship.
Hey, y'all know Judge Hatchett, right? Did you hear this?
A Georgia sheriff is facing sexual battery charges for groping Judge Glenda Hatchett during a conference. He approached her. The guest turned away, then turned around, and then literally saw him running his hand over her left breast.
Crazy. And our prayers go out to Buffalo.
What happened here is simple and straightforward. Terrorism. Domestic terrorism.
But now what is the FBI and the people who are supposed to be fighting terrorism going to do now that the terrorists aren't brown? That's the Espresso. It's Cafe Mocha. Angelique along with Lonnie Love on the line, returning to Cafe Mocha, Dr. Samira Brown. She's with the Cobb Institute that really works on racial disparity when it comes to health. Dr. Brown, May is Mental Health Month. And I got to say, COVID's been tough on us mentally. A lot of us don't want to talk about it, but we've been in the house or we've been stressed out going to work and scared that we're going to get sick. Can you just sort of talk about the 2-year roller coaster and why this virus has had such a big impact on the mental health of the Black community?
So many of us are really having a hard time with mental health. I mean, especially as a pediatrician, we want folks to know that we are actually in a national mental health crisis in children. We are seeing rates of depression, anxiety, trauma, loneliness, suicidality really soaring amongst children and teens. And of course, adults are not left out of this. So the first step is really to recognize it and to make sure that we're normalizing mental health and seeking out treatment and getting comprehensive, adequate care. This is exactly as you described it. It has been a roller coaster and the end is not in sight. It's something that we really have to learn to live with. And we want to learn to do this, in a healthy way.
Dr. Brown, you're a pediatrician, and, we can be therapists to our children to a certain extent, to a certain age. But let's talk about the importance of parents finding someone for the children to talk to and address their mental health needs.
A lot of times, parents are the first ones who are going to recognize something is going on with their child. And you know that depending on their developmental age, right, kids can present all kinds of different ways with anxiety and depression and other mental health illness, right? So if you notice that your child is acting differently, right? Maybe they've got chronic headaches and stomach aches. Maybe all of a sudden they're staying in their room. Maybe they're into drugs all of a sudden. Maybe they can't pay attention, right? Or their grades have changed. You absolutely want to call your pediatrician and come in and get screened. If you don't have, a trusted pediatrician, please, we definitely want you to find one. You can go to a school counselor. There are other mental health professionals, but it is absolutely critical that this is, diagnosed and we get into treatment, because the good news about mental health illness is the fact that we do have such good treatment. And when we get culturally competent, comprehensive care, we can help prevent long-term complications.
Cafe Mocha on the line, Dr. Samira Brown. Let's talk about the possible summer surge that's may happen for COVID? Do you anticipate that there will be a surge?
I think that using surge, causes some stress for some folks, but COVID has never gone anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So I think using percent positivity rate now is not even reliable, right? So really looking at hospitalization rates, unfortunately, loss of life, death rates are what folks are going to start using. If the community around you, is vaccinated, you want to use that, in your determination as well. But now, because so many folks are testing at home, right, looking at your community's rates in terms of looking for that surge are not going to be as accurate. And then remember, your hospitalization and your deaths are going to lag 2 to 3 weeks behind cases rising, right? And certainly you can have a regional outbreak, right, that may not be everywhere. But I would say, we are not out of it, right? COVID never went anywhere. It's not something that we have a cure for. And even when you're vaccinated, it's not a cape. It doesn't mean that, nothing can happen, but you're far less likely, right? What we're trying to prevent is to make sure that you don't end up in the hospital with COVID, that you don't end up losing your life with COVID, right? So all of those things are significantly less likely. So 12 times less likely, to go to the hospital if you're vaccinated versus not.
Dr. Brown, I'm just worried. I mean, in part because I'm a worrywart. But, everywhere I go, including the airport and in restaurants and at the CVS, people are not wearing masks. And I know a lot of them are vaccinated. And I'm thinking, okay, look, you need to choose. Either you're going to wear that mask, or you're going to get vaccinated, or you're going to be like me, have 4 or 5 shots and double mask. So
like you and me, because I too, I'm vaccinated, I'm boosted, and I also mask, right? So really the combination. And I think that too, we have to get out of, waiting for somebody else to tell us to put a mask on, right? That, Omicron is 60 times more contagious than Delta was. Right? So if you were still wearing a cloth mask, that is better than nothing, but it definitely is not the only thing that you can do. You've got to get vaccinated. You've got to start staying away from folks. The weather is, if it's nice, get outside, right? Do all those things that you did in the beginning to really try to decrease your risk and protect your family. And also too, if you aren't vaccinated, if you're out there taking a risk, think about who else you're around, right? Do you have a premature baby at home, right? Does grandma have diabetes and hypertension, right? So you really also have to alter who else you're going to be around if you're taking those risks. So, we as a community, if we're going to, survive this in a better way as we come out of having had multiple surges and learned how, crucial it is to protect our community, we have to stand up and, challenge folks too that, say, no, you can't come to the family reunion or we're not, going to be getting together, right? So you also have to remember, right, that, ending up in the hospital because you didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings is not a good enough reason.
Dr. Samira Brown, Cobb Institute, American Academy of Pediatrics, a member of the National Medical Association. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and constant encouragement and constant work of trying to educate our community and get us healthy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Salute Her Awards presented by AARP and Toyota is now streaming on saluteher.com. Always inspiring. Howard Hewitt and Raheem DeVon sang for us. We honored the legendary Winans women, social justice activists Ebony Underwood, Nadia Fisher, and more. Just go to saluteher.com and stream it. Till next time, you can find us on all platforms at Cafe Mocha Radio.
Cafe Mocha is a production of Miles Ahead Broadcasting in partnership with Compass Media. Executive producer Sheila Eldridge. For comments, booking, or more information, visit cafemocharadio.com.
Hi, this is Chuck Harmony from We Sound Crazy with your Black Music Month Spotlight. Missy Elliott is a pioneering American songwriter, rapper, singer, and producer. She emerged in the 1990s as part of the R&B girl group Sister and gained widespread recognition for her innovative approach to performance and music production.
Me, I'm super fly, super duper fly, super duper fly. Me, I'm super fly, super duper fly.
In 2020, Billboard ranked her at number 5 on their list of the 100 greatest music video artists of all time. And in 2023, Elliott became the first female rapper inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Being the first to be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame means so much to me because I never thought that in a million years, like that's probably the top tier of making it as an artist.
Hey, it's Angelique here. Walt Disney World Resort is bringing you the culture with music, art, and food. Imagine savoring Princess and the Frog's decadent bread pudding and berry beignets at Disney's Port Orleans Resort. Take in Disney's Animal Kingdom Park's Circle of Life Festival, celebrating the Lion King and more. Walt Disney World Resort is a place where you can come and celebrate with your family, and you can do it soulfully. Bring yourself to Walt Disney World Resort and celebrate the culture.